You're listening to a DM podcast.
We would like to acknowledge and give thanks to the traditional owners of the land we record this podcast on, the Yagara and Turrbal people,
and their continued connection to the land and waterways on which we meet.
Hello, welcome to Sportish. This is your podcast where sport and pop culture collide. I'm Libby Trickett.
I'm Georgie Trickett. And today
We're back from the same episode. We had too much to talk about, Georgie.
There's been so much sport that's happened, and we were having a much-needed 2-week holiday.
Yeah.
Where we
was school holidays.
Which is actually really fun. And, you know, we went with a whole lot of other families too.
There were many children in some of the videos that I saw.
There were 20 children. That's a lot of children. 5 other families, so 6 of us in total. We went to Moreton Island. It was the second year in a row we'd been. Moreton Island's like this huge sand island off the coast of Brisbane.
If you're not from Queensland, you need to go. It's beautiful.
Like, it's absolutely stunning.
Or even if you're from Brisbane.
And it's great, like, for where we are in our stage of life. Like, it's not flash. That's great. It's very indestructible, which is key when you have so many children. And it's very handy to go on holidays with people who are adventurers, because I love an adventure. Am I good at organising it? Maybe not so much. Like, not my strong point.
Which is funny because you're the organised one now.
Yep.
Which says something about me.
Maybe these are my friends that I can take, that I can be Rancho Relaxo on, because I don't have to be the organiser anymore because someone else is adulting.
No, you're my adultier adult.
What I realised, though, because we had some challenging weather days just because it was like almost like cyclonic in Queensland for a couple of days there. And there was one day where I definitely just could not be bothered to get in the car. Like, to go on a day trip around the island, you're pretty much packing up half your unit again to get back.
Too hard.
Like, you got to pack your lunch, you got to pack all the water, tents, sunscreen, like so many snacks. And there was a part of me on the Friday morning that was like, guys, so we did a whole day trip yesterday. Do we have to do it again? And they're like, yep, come on, get in the car. The weather's going to be crap tomorrow. We have to do it today. So we did. And the kids could have so easily had a day where they were watching TV and they probably would have had too much screens, and some of that's good. But there was a part of me that was sort of realised that you got to make the most of those moments and get in the car and go and do the exploring and just go and find a spot on the beach and let the kids play beach cricket and swim in the water. They had dolphins that swam past them. I mean, thank God they weren't sharks, because really they could have been sharks. And as parents, we were all sitting there going, oh, isn't that lovely? They're not going to die. It made me realise that as much as I just wanted to lie on the couch and read my book because it's also my holiday, these kids are having the most amazing time. They're fishing, they're on their boogie boards, they're playing cricket. And we just had to push ourselves out of our houses.
Yeah, I love that, because you do. I mean, gosh, there's so many times where you're just like,
why do I have to put up the cool cabana again? I mean, what a first world problem.
So much sunscreen application. But it's good. Once you actually are there and you're doing the things, and especially when you get home, you realise how amazing and special that is.
But my God.
And terrible. Both things are true.
So much angriness. While we were there, of course, the AFL grand final.
Which I don't know if anybody else knows, but Brisbane won.
So we had been very busy with the Olympics and the Paralympics, and I'd sort of chimed in at the start of the Brisbane Lions season and went to one of the first games actually, and then had tapped out a bit because it got very sportish in the middle of it, and there was so much sport to watch and consume, and then came back in sort of as we rolled off the Paralympics, and I was like, there's such a gaping hole in my life. I must find sport to watch immediately. And as such, and I've always sort of followed the Lions, but I went deep and got to go to a few games, and just it was like something clicked. And this sport that I've always dabbled with and watched, I all of a sudden was like, oh, we have to watch it. I started to understand where they were in the ladder. I started to have more of an understanding about who the personalities were. Someone asked me if I knew such and such because they played for the Brisbane Lions, and I was like, no. And I was like, I don't even know who you're talking about. And they looked at me like dead in the eye and were like, how do you even know sport?
We have a sports podcast.
And here's the thing, right, Liv? Like, If you ask me about snowboarding or like other sports, softball, I can talk ad nauseum, but it's hard to be deep on all of them.
But this is what we talk about because I've had so many people, because like, I'll be honest, I didn't even watch the whole grand final. I watched the last quarter. It was an excellent quarter. But this is the thing, like, it doesn't have to be, and like the only reason I started to take notice is because our father-in-law was texting in our group chat and was like, oh, the Brisbane Lions lost. That was a shame. And I was like,
excuse me, what?
Because he said they lost by a lot. And I went and Googled because of who I am as a person. It's very petty.
She likes to be right.
And I'm like, that's interesting.
And you must be talking about the GWS game where the Lions came from like
so they were
so
down
far behind
by 44 points that our father-in-law just turned off the television and assumed that that was
the end of the game.
And then obviously Brisbane went on to win by 5 points and it was like this amazing comeback and obviously have gone on to win the grand final. But that's when I started, I'm like, oh, gee, Brisbane's got some grit this year. I mean, they had some last year when they also made the grand final. And then I just totally jumped on the bandwagon. Haven't watched, except for that final quarter, haven't watched a second of the AFL this year.
Do you know what? You might be now someone who next year when the season starts goes, oh, I might see what time the Lions are playing. Like, this is how you get people involved. You have to allow them to jump on at some point.
Because I've had some people say to me, you can't just jump on the bandwagon.
To me, there's sports snobs. It's like, you know how you used to have music snobs who were like, they've been playing this on Triple J for like 5 years. I can't believe you don't know this song. Like, that was that real music snobbery that used to go on. I think these are sports snobs.
Yeah. But there are so many Australian sports snobs and it's just so boring. Because we're allowed to cheer for them.
Absolutely. Do you know what wasn't boring? Katy Perry.
Katy Perry dancing on a goon bag.
So I have heard through different sources that she is actually really sun conscious, doesn't like to be in the sun, hyper aware.
That's interesting because she was performing like at midday.
So, yeah, and that's fine. Like, as in sometimes she will walk around with an umbrella over her head because she doesn't want the sun to hit her face directly.
I mean, her skin is excellent.
It's amazing, right? That doesn't come without effort. So when she then came out on a stage that was like a reflective sunbed, I was like, did anyone talk to Katy Perry about the UV in Australia? This is not a good choice. Clearly, that's why they were all wearing those speed dealer sunglasses.
Yes, that's true.
Because they were on such a reflective surface. But the internet lost their minds when Katy Perry's like dancers had these props that could only be described as inflated goon bags. It was the best. And then one goon bag popped.
Oh, no.
Have you heard about Left Shark?
No. I saw you post about this on the socials and I was like, what's the Left Shark?
So Left Shark was in one of, I don't know if it was Katy Perry video or if it was like a Super Bowl or whatever it was, but Left Shark was this dancer dressed up in a shark outfit, like cartoony. You know how Katy Perry brings in different animation type aspects to her performance. And this guy was just so lame as Left Shark. So Left Shark became an internet sensation. And then the goon bag popped and it was like, this is a Left Shark we all needed. This is a Left Shark we all expected from Katy Perry.
What did you think? Because she did a duet with Tina Arena as well. How did you think her performance went?
I thought it was a weird combination. I was like, well, I really like Tina Arena, but I was like, why are you here? Like, so they often have the Aussie talent that comes on with the international talent. Like,
why? Shouldn't they be separate?
Well, I don't know. I think Robbie Williams was on a few years ago. Maybe it was even last year. And Delta Goodrem was part of his act. But that was kind of good because he had a duetty type song, which I think was Kids.
Yeah, well, Kylie Minogue.
Yeah, so that was fair. But that, I don't know, I just don't think it worked.
Yeah, that was a bit weird from my perspective. I mean, it's not as bad as Meatloaf.
Nothing will ever be as bad as Meatloaf.
Other than that, I thought it was excellent.
She was amazing.
Cody Simpson, fantastic.
In the group I was watching it with, they didn't appreciate the reprise.
There was a reprise?
So as in like in Joyful Australians let them sing Advance Australia Fair and then that would usually be the end. But it was sort of like dragged out and let them sing Advance Australia Fair. And then it went on again. Advance Australia Fair.
Sounds like amazing.
He was, I mean,
spectacular.
He should be the only person that sings the national anthem from this point going forward. That's all I'm saying.
He's just our go-to now.
He should just like, oh, is Cody available? Boom.
Done.
In. He was so good. That game was unbelievable.
Not for Sydney Swans.
It was less believable for Sydney Swans. For Brisbane Lion fans, it was unreal. We now in Brisbane hold currently both premiership cups.
Ooh.
Because the AFLW women won it last year.
Of course.
We are currently holding it for the men.
We are.
And so AFLW is just starting off. But at this point, we hold both.
Current.
It was really interesting. Unfortunately, the Sydney Swans coach had to do his press conference next door to the dressing rooms of the Lions. So they all came back into the dressing rooms and he's doing his press conference and you can hear all the cheers and like there's another wave of cheers.
And he's just all sad.
And he's like gutted because his team has just lost.
By 60 points.
By quite a bit.
Many points.
By many points. And he has to sit through it all. Like, he was very gracious given the situation. I mean, he could have flipped a table and no one would have thought otherwise, but it was just like it crushed his soul a little more every time he heard
another song came on.
It just, it wasn't great. Hey, leading up to the grand final, the Brownlow medal ceremony occurred. We're not actually going to talk about the Brownlow medalist. That was
boring.
Was it Cripps? He was from the team that Brisbane knocked out on the way through, which was Carlton, I'm pretty sure. Anyway, he won the Brownlow, but what really caught my attention, and I think it caught yours too, was a speech that was given as part of the Brownlow ceremony. And it was from Angus Brayshaw, who had to be medically retired from AFL this year due to many unfortunate and just wildly unlucky concussions. We're going to play a little bit of it for you now.
So yes, our playing careers have ended and there are feelings of sadness, grief, uncertainty, anger and anxiety, no doubt. But as the playing door closes on us, so many others stand ready for us as we transition from this rigid and structured existence into the great unknown.
He's amazing.
Tell me what you thought, because I watched this and I was like, oh, Libby's going to have so many feelings about this, because you speak to people all the time about that transition from sport to real life.
I just loved that he took that moment to talk about it. Like, it's a really public, very profound moment for him that he was given, and he chose to talk about that, and he spoke so beautifully and so vulnerably about what he was going through and experiencing. And I think there is a real challenge for athletes who particularly don't get to choose their finish.
Yeah. Oh my God, it's Danny Rick all over again.
It's Danny Rick.
Oh.
And when you don't get to choose, I just think it's so much more painful as well.
Oh, God, and you could feel it as he was talking, the pain of it being taken away from him.
I don't know. I loved every second of it. And if you can go and listen to the whole thing, like, go listen.
I thought it was incredible how he articulated the void that is created by the lack of sport. And it's something you've spoken about so beautifully, where you have this structure and you have this identity.
You have this team.
And you have this team. And it's like a family.
And friendship.
And overnight, it's all just cut off from you, like it never existed.
And then it's like, who are you? How do you value yourself? Like, where do you want to go? Where do you want to spend all of your time doing? And you become so obsessed and so focused on this one thing. And particularly when it's just ripped apart, like it's just ripped from you. You don't have the opportunity to do that at all anymore. Like, it's just not your choice. Yeah, it's painful. Like, it's genuinely painful. And it's funny because people ask me still to this day. It was a weird combination when I retired because I was severely injured, but I knew it was the right time as well. Whole long story. But people ask me now, do I miss it? And I can say, hand on heart, absolutely. I miss it with every fiber of my being. If there was some way I could magic myself back to those moments, I would, because there is nothing in this world like it. And am I happy? I'm the happiest I've ever been now. Like, without a doubt, I'm the happiest I've ever been. But I still miss it every single day, and especially when the Olympics are on. But there's just such a void, and you can't ever fill it. Like, there's nothing that will ever replace it. Yeah. So I just think it was so beautiful the way he spoke about it. And I know that it will help so many other athletes to know that they're not alone in that moment.
And to be so real about it.
Not just to Sky, oh, I'm happy, it's fine.
Guys, we're leaving. It was like, this sucks.
Yeah.
You could see him almost going, I don't want to be up here.
Yeah.
Like, this is the worst way my year could have ended. Well, that was really brave and generous.
Totally.
The Midweek Hall of Fame, we've been talking about it.
Yes.
I think we need to remind the sporties what a Midweek Hall of Fame
What are we looking for, Georgie?
Oh, no, I was asking you.
Oh, okay. Let me explain.
That was me throwing it to you.
Let me explain. I'll alley-oop this bad boy. That's just – no, I was trying to be sportish.
Oh, my God.
Alley-oop. Do a layup?
Oh, you're going
it's basketball.
Yeah.
Okay.
I didn't know if you knew you were in basketball territory.
I knew. I've watched The Last Dance, Georgie.
Oh my God.
I've seen Michael Jordan.
Have you watched And One?
I have actually. Another great documentary.
Oh my gosh, we haven't even touched on documentaries.
Oh my God, so many. Pretty much whatever we decide is the Midweek Hall of
That was
Fame.
the overarching theme.
However, what we want is our sporties to nominate people who have done something really cool. And it doesn't have to be a win. It doesn't have to be the Brisbane Lions winning the AFL Premiership, right? It can be my mate Tomo went and ran his first marathon and raised some money for charity. And that can be something that you're super proud of and you wanted to share with us. But I think how you laid it out, Georgie, was that can it also be potentially a script of a film? So something really interesting happened. There's been some challenges, some obstacles to overcome. And Tomo had to, put his leg back together to run the marathon.
Would it work with a bit of like great music behind it?
If it's got sport montage music, if you can imagine that.
We're there.
Yeah, we're all over it.
Yeah. And I think it's important to note it can be a 12-year-old child. It can be
an 86-year-old running.
And it can be a professional.
Yeah.
It can be something. And so for this week's Midweek Hall of Fame, we would like to call out something that came up in the AFL Grand Final.
Yes, absolutely.
So, Lib, this week's Midweek Hall of Fame is going to go to Oscar McInerney.
Love that.
Oscar gave a speech after a loss in round 23 where that loss put them out of the top four. And in that speech, the theme was the people in the team needed to give themselves to the team more. So it needed to be about more than the individual, that they were all getting a bit caught up on statistics and their metrics on the field. And he called it out and said, even I'm doing this. And I think it needs to be about us all giving it to the team. And Chris Fagan, who's the incredible coach of the Brisbane Lions, said, I had never heard him stand up and speak, and it was just one of those really powerful moments that you occasionally get at a footy club. And there he was, the big O. So this guy who doesn't usually get up and do the speeches, he's not the captain. He just got up and said, this is what I reckon's going on. That inspired a 5-game winning streak. It became the theme for the rest of the season. And then in the cruelest twist of fate, he dislocated his shoulder twice.
Oh, my goodness.
In the game before the final. So he was an absolute key player in that game, dislocated twice, and made the decision, not just for himself, but for the club, so that he could continue to play next year, to not play in the grand final. Right? Like, it gets you in the chest. So on Saturday, as the Brisbane Lions ran out onto the field, they all were touching a jersey, which had, oh my God, it just reminded me so much of something out of Ted Lasso.
Yeah, so Ted Lasso vibes.
They were all touching this jersey. It's his jersey.
Wow.
Because if you're not playing, you're not playing. And you're not considered part of the grand final team if you're not on the bench or on the field. So he didn't get a medal. He didn't get presented with a medal. But they honoured him by touching his jersey. And I can only begin to imagine what it's like to be him on that day, where your team, who you've slogged your guts out with for the last however many years, actually wins the flag.
And you may never get that opportunity.
Exactly. And no one would have thought twice if you'd looked over and seen him slightly heartbroken. But instead, he was the guy who told the team that it was more than about just themselves. It was about everybody, who was jumping up and down. He was everywhere. He was beside himself. In all the celebrations, he actually dislocated his shoulder again. He was the most enthusiastic supporter the Brisbane Lions had on that day. And they were so, oh my God, they were so beautiful with him. It was as much for him as it was for anybody else, and they included him in everything. But he was like a kid in a candy shop, just jumping up and down. And when the guy who'd taken his place, got the medal, he was jumping up and down. He was cheering. He was just like beside himself.
Oscar deserves it.
Oscar, the big O, is our Midweek Hall of Fame, because to me, that is just like the epitome of sportsmanship, the epitome of teamwork.
And I can definitely imagine a sports montage behind that.
Oh my God. There should be a whole show written on this.
Whole documentary.
This could be like a whole 5-part series.
Get on it.
Get involved with the AFL.
The big O. Thank you so much for listening to this week's episode of Sportish. We will be back again with you next week. As always, if there's ever anything that you want to discuss around sport, kids in sport,
if you see a Midweek Hall of Fame,
nominate them, please.
Nominate them. You can send us a voice note. Voice notes are so easy. Just literally record something. It doesn't have to be perfect. Just like you're chatting to someone on the phone.
Yeah.
Send us a voice note. We would love to hear your voices on the podcast.
Yes, exactly.
And we'd love to share these great stories that are
Good
happening
vibes.
out there. All the good sporty vibes.
Absolutely. And otherwise, we'll see you at Being Sportish on Instagram, and we'll see you next week.
Bye.
Bye.